This is where we spill the tea. I mean, we're here.
We're on the Jones Beach Boardwalk.
Oh
Dee
my
Snyder's
God.
calling in.
Wrap it up. We've been hanging out with the hot teas.
The hot teas, by the way, armies. Hashtag Long Island Life. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, welcome back to Long Island Tea, where we spill the tea on how we live our best Long Island life. And we have such an amazing guest and cool show today. I'm like trying not to be weird about it.
Local celebrity,
I'm trying
if
not
you will.
to be super weird about it. But our favorite weekend newscaster on News 12, Jackie Lukas, is here with us, formerly of News 12, and we're going to spill some tea about it as much as we can anyway. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yay!
And you guys, it's such a warm welcome, too. And I love your office space. It's so cool. It's
Thank
so cool.
you. I'm like, seriously, Sharon was like, stop talking because I'm so weird about Jackie here. I feel like I know you. Like, we've been friends forever. But we start every show, you know, Jackie, because we're on Long Island. So we say, how you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, girl. You can totally tell you're a Long Islander through
Not
and through.
a Texan who then came to Long Island.
No, yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, I don't know anything about it. I'm like, what is a French toast bagel?
Right.
And everybody's
So
like
many
freaking
people.
out about
I
them
know.
on the internet.
I
Sharon.
keep getting all these texts like, I can't believe she has never had a French toast bagel. I'm like, seriously.
Well, at least you call it a bagel and not a boggle. That's some
Oh.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Totally
I don't want to
random.
say bagel. I do butcher the accent sometimes, but I love it. I love Long Island. I love the accent. And I love you, Jackie Lukas. You're so... truly one of the people that you feel like so connected to, and I know that it must be super weird for you going around Long Island and having everybody feel like they're your bestie.
No, because, I mean, we've never physically
this is
met
the
each
first
other,
time.
and we had a warm embrace.
I know.
And
Yeah,
No, I'm like fully
exactly.
hugged. Like,
and listen,
I feel like
love
we're
it.
besties.
If people come up to me and say, "Hey, you made me smile this day,"
Yeah.
or that was what it was all about for me, you know,
Yeah.
is just connecting with people, and
Yeah.
you're
You're great. Thomas was like, my husband was like, do I get to come? Because we spent all of our weekends with Jackie and the weather guy, whatever weather guy you were torturing on that day.
Whoever,
I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
So hysterical.
But so we kind of want to start with how you doing, and it's been a crazy week, so I want to fill you guys in, and then we'll get more into like Jackie's life. But I just got back from Palm Springs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went to Palm Springs, and I was there. I flew on Sunday night, and it's long, no direct flight. Right. And then I get there. It's a gazillion, years of travel. And it's the worst because I'm there for a conference and it's all the CEOs. It's all my counterparts from across the country. So it's like all the important people.
Yeah.
And I'm in travel clothes. I'm in my jeans. I got like my Belong
Hoodie.
t-shirt
Yeah.
on. My hair is in a bun, and you just want to get there and check in.
Yeah.
And go to your room.
And then
go to your room.
Yeah.
Because you got a reception and all that. And I hate seeing people when I'm still like in my travel mode.
Yeah.
I want to check in. I want to like fly under the radar, check in. Go.
Right.
So I get there after a zillion years of travel. Oh, my car service picks me up like 4 a.m. Right. And then how it goes when you go to JFK. And then so I get there and the guy's like, front desk, Sharon, I've been dying to tell you the story.
I know.
Sharon and I've been texting about this. The front desk guy, this is a very luxurious resort. I'm just going to say what it is. It was the JW Marriott, like Desert Springs. Beautiful resort.
Yeah.
And I get there and the guy's like, I said, Kristen and Sharon, and he's like, I don't have a room for you. No room. And I'm like, oh, maybe check Kristen Reynolds, and he goes, there was a Kristen Reynolds here, but she checked out yesterday.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, well, I don't know what to say because I'm here today. And I don't have my paperwork. I'm looking at my calendar and I'm like, I see there's like some kind of confirmation code. And he's like, it starts with the EW. He's like, we don't have letters, ours is numbers. He was just like, and there's a total line and it's like half an hour because
Right.
there's one person working the front desk because of course the workforce.
Yeah.
And everyone is super annoyed with me because I'm like taking up the line and I'm like, I don't understand. Like I need to stay here. I'm with the conference. And he's like, well, we do have rooms available. They're $807 a night starting. And I'm like, oh my God. So I sat down. I was like, had to collect myself. I sat down. I like flipped through everything.
Yeah.
I'm looking for my paperwork. I'm doing like Hotel Tonight to see if I can stay somewhere
Yeah.
else. There's like a La Quinta, on the interstate. And I'm like, I don't even know where that is.
There's a
And I
motel-y.
was literally like,
Yeah.
I was like, fine. So I just needed to get to my room so that I could go to the reception. So I go and I'm like, just check me in. I booked the room. I booked the room online, $800 a night.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll rectify this later, right? And so I texted you. I'm like, what the heck? And then I have to wait in line again, half an hour, check in with this guy, Daniel. I'll not forget this guy, okay? And he's like, sighs, sure, here you go. Here's your room. Checks me in. I go all the way, like it's one of those mega resorts, all the way down the hallway with my
different building.
Yeah, whole thing. I go in there. Totally dirty room. Like the bed's not made, not dirty, like not clean. Like the bed isn't even made from the last guest. The whole room, I was like somebody might still be there.
Right.
Because it was Kristen Reynolds' room.
Right. Yeah, seriously. It was Kristen Reynolds. So then I go back and I'm like, hey, you took me in the dirty room. Fine. So then the next day, Sharon's like, no, this is wrong. You have a reservation. Here's your confirmation. It's under Kristen Reynolds. So I go when there's no line that day and I'm like, same guy, Daniel. I'm like, hi, do you remember me? I checked in yesterday and you said I didn't have a room. And here it is, reservation. And he was like, oh, the reason why is because this was supposed to come in the day before. And I'm like, and you no-showed, so you got charged the full night, and your reservation was canceled. And I'm like, so that Kristen Reynolds was me that you said was there the day before checked out, but I didn't check out. You just canceled my room. And he was like, well, and I said, so, the room rate's $275. So I'm like, I would rather pay the room rate and pay the night of cancellation than it's great.
Exactly.
He's like, well, let me go back and see. So then he goes back in the back and then he comes forever. And then he comes and they must have said, yeah, fix it. But he doesn't say this. He comes out and just stares at me and he goes, so who are you exactly? Are you Kristen Jarnigan? Are you Kristen Reynolds? And I was like,
livid. Yeah.
Sitting there with my
God.
And I'm like, I'm Kristen Jarnigan Reynolds. What's the point? What is it to you? I want to say, who the...
Yeah,
my New Yorker was coming out. I wanted to say, who the F are you?
Yeah.
That's when I say, who's your manager? I don't need to talk to you anymore.
Exactly. I was like, what? And he's like, well, so, okay, we're going to work on... I said something like, I can't remember what he said. He goes, it's just really unusual for someone to have two names, all these confusing, two different names.
God.
And I said, it's actually really not unusual at all for a woman to get married and keep her professional name.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really common. So are you going to fix it or not? And he was like, we're working on it. I was like, ooh, girl, when I get that survey.
Exactly.
You
know what the funny
Daniel,
thing?
Is that his name?
Oh, yeah. I was like, I looked right at his name. I'm like,
angry typing.
got it.
I got your back.
Got it, Daniel.
Yeah.
More to come.
We're emailing back and forth this whole time. I'm sweating, thinking she's like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I made this reservation. I did it. It's my fault. I'm freaking out. Also forgetting that there's a time difference with her.
Right.
So I see the email and I'm like, texting her. I'm like, you have a reservation, blah, blah, blah. And she's not texting me back. And I'm like, she's pissed.
Oh, I was pissed.
and then
I was pissed. And then I was pissed at him. I was like.
So then I call. I'm emailing her back. I'm like, I'm going to rectify this today. I'm going to resolve it. She's in conference, so she's not getting emails. So I call and I'm like, hey, I pulled a straight Karen. Like, I need to speak to your manager immediately. And they're like, I am the manager. And I'm like, okay, excellent. Then you can help me with this situation. And she's like, oh, it's already been rectified. I'm like, okay, thanks. Have a great day.
So they fixed it and didn't charge me the
gloves down.
Yeah. Like,
forget
what
it.
The hell? This is the problem with the workforce right now, though, in our industry, hospitality. And I need to warn everybody, okay? This is some travel tea. Because it was like this everywhere I went. I got yelled at by like the waitress at the airport in Palm Springs and in Atlanta. The crowds are crazy. Mm-hmm. Everyone is stress level 10. So as we approach spring break and you're getting ready for summer, just be prepared. Just have a couple cocktails or something on that. Everyone. The lines are crazy.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there. It was even hard for me at the airports because they were slammed. And there's like lines to just try and get in anywhere. Anyway, it was crazy. So two other things I want to say. That this podcast was the star of the conference.
I love it.
So I think we have probably like a lot of new listeners.
Oh,
so I
glad
want to
I'm here then.
I want to say
awesome.
Welcome new listeners to our new hot teas. Because I got up and I was talking to the locals and how important it is. And I was like, we do it. And we don't talk to them about what we want them to hear. We talk as locals. Like we bring in Jackie Lukas, for God's sakes. You know what I mean? What do locals want? They want Jackie. And everyone was like, oh my God, your podcast, we're downloading it. And the whole conference, they're like, how you doing?
And
they walked by me. I was like, oh my God, it was pretty awesome.
That is so
I gotta
cool.
say. So I think we have some new listeners. And I watched a couple of weird movies on the plane. I'll tell you about them later. Because I need to give a review. Well, maybe I'll talk about them now. Did you see Spencer?
No.
With Kristen Stewart about Princess Di?
No.
Don't. So
right, good.
bad. So annoying.
Was it terrible?
It was So annoying.
Oh, God.
I'm a
Okay.
huge Princess Di fan,
Yeah.
as you know.
Yeah.
All it was so much like sighing and head tilting and
Oh, my God.
she was exasperated the whole time. And I was just like,
And that's Kristen Stewart being
oh
Kristen
my
Stewart,
God.
you think?
She made Princess Di seem like the fullest, most annoying person that's ever lived. So don't watch it. And then I watched One Night in Soho. Oh my God, that was a trip and cool. You know, did you ever watch the chess show?
No.
The show about
No.
the girl who was the chess
Oh, yeah, on
prodigy?
Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
I got
amazing.
3 little kids. I barely
I
get
know.
like a half-hour show at night.
Yeah, well, it was weird and
Big
like
City Greens at my house.
you're singing something the Bruno song all the time.
Yeah,
I heard you
exactly.
singing the Bruno
We
song.
don't talk about Bruno.
We
at my
don't talk
house.
about Bruno.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, so
funny.
it's a weird one, but kind of cool if you're on a plane. All right, so enough about that, Jackie.
What else in tea?
I have so many questions.
Okay.
Okay, so you had a big change. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I got out of news,
Yes.
so to speak, and had a midlife crisis at 39, pretty much. No, and just have been really trying to soul search and figure out what I want to do next with my life, and you know, that kind of thing. It took some time. We went to Disney, so that was great. You know, because I have 3 kids.
Yes.
And yeah.
How old are your kids?
So my oldest, JoJo's 9, Aubrey is 7, and Lucas is 5.
Okay,
Wow.
cool. And I feel like I have to give a laid link because we have listeners from all over.
Okay.
Right. We are listened to in 28 different countries.
Wow.
I don't know why. I said that. I was like, I don't know why, but cheers to you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
So I always try to tell people the media market on Long Island, I almost said in Long Island, is really different. It's really unusual than any media market. There's like a monopoly.
Right.
Right. So News 12 is the news station that if you have cable, it's defaulted. When you turn on your cable, you are literally forced to watch News 12. And people do it, you know, usually joyfully. And then it loops constantly.
Every 20
so it's you watch it and then you loop it and then it runs all day. Like the same stuff. There's a few different segments and then it loops. And then there's one newspaper too that like everybody on Long Island reads called Newsday. We talk about it all the time. So, and the other thing that's different about News 12, I think, is that you usually get people like you. You're a native Long Islander. You get like people that have been born and raised and lived here for generations.
Yes. So I was born in Huntington Hospital, and what's really cool is my 3 kids were born in Huntington Hospital as well. So that's how cute is that, right?
Same,
Special.
actually.
Went to Northport High School, went to college, played basketball, and got my degree at Dowling, which doesn't exist anymore.
I know,
but
I saw
so
that.
sad.
I know.
And yes, now still raise my kids in Northport.
And that's how Long Island is. I mean,
Right.
families live here for generations.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really a trip. Like,
And you know what's funny too, especially in Northport, because I was like, I can't wait to get out of Northport. And then when I got older, I was like, oh, where do I want to live? Oh, I want to move back to East Northport.
You realize.
Coming back.
Yeah, but every town on Long Island's great, you know.
Yeah.
So
And that's the best. Honestly, people love to complain. Like Long Islanders,
It's
we love to
expensive.
complain about Long Island.
because it's expensive.
It's expensive, but also for a million reasons. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's just like, who said it? Was like, we were bred to be bitter. Something like that.
I don't remember who it was. But it's
like
true.
a great
It's
place. Everyone
like,
stays here.
but then when somebody else talks, it's like anybody. Like
Yeah,
they
your
talk about your
family.
family.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't.
And people
you're not
leave
allowed
and
to
they
talk
regret
about
it.
Exactly.
People leave and they
You
always want to come back.
And like you said, you came right back to East Northport. Like I left and I came right back to my hometown.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny.
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and so News 12 is what everyone watches, and most of the newscasters on News 12 are native Long Islander. I'm starting to feel that change a little bit. Like
you
in
could
most
see
news
it.
markets, people just circulate all the
Yeah.
time. They move up. You know, they
Yeah.
have agents. Like news people are like, they're like actresses, right? You have agents and like, but here it's like the Long Island family. So you really feel like you know these people
Yeah.
and that they're family.
Yeah.
And so I've been like really weird about you the whole time. And then I heard you launched a podcast because you were the weekend anchor.
Yes. So I launched a podcast. It's called The Freakin Weekend.
Yes.
I love it.
So, and it's
Perfect.
basically none of the news, all the banter, all the
Right,
time.
right,
And that's
kinda
it,
like us.
you know? So
I think that's why people like me feel like they know you maybe better than some of the other newscasters because the weekend is more free. It's
Relaxed.
more free,
Yeah.
free. You can, freelance. You can just like, you banter with whoever the weather guy is. You would always torture them and like joke with them. You were always singing and it's just the weekend vibe.
yeah. Well, it's also to not everything has to be negative. You know what I mean? We can have fun.
Yeah.
too. And just in general in life. So
I have to tell you one thing that I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but you know, we went through a very hard 2 years.
Oh,
Speaking
yes.
of negative, we went through a really difficult 2 years here in New York, especially. And I remember watching you, and one day you actually broke down on camera, and you were
it was
crying.
when my mom's birthday when I
Yeah.
couldn't see. Yeah.
and your grandfather or something had.
We had COVID hit us. Yeah, my grandfather, but my father-in-law was one of the first people on Long Island to go to the hospital, like with COVID.
Oh, wow.
And you know, in the beginning, and he almost passed away. You know, because they
didn't
also
know what
didn't
to
know
do.
how to treat.
Yeah.
Right,
You know,
right.
so God willing, you know, he's okay and he's fine now and stuff. So, and then right after he got out of the hospital, my grandmother got COVID in the nursing home, and she was 101. She beat COVID, but then she wound up, you know.
Yeah.
But so ups and downs.
Yeah. But it was a really authentic, real moment. And, you know, you guys as newscasters are there on camera during the most difficult times to get, you know, the public through, you know, what we go through, whether it's, you know, reporting during, you know, terrorism or wars or pandemics. And you always did such a good job to keep it light and fun. But then to see that real moment of yours, I just loved you in that moment. I was like, you know what? She is such a real person.
Yeah, 'cause they're
and
real people,
And
and
it
you
makes
just
you
don't-
feel like it's okay to feel that way too, and to be sad and honest.
Yeah, you can't be put together all the time.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? Like you have to, you know, and I truly care, you know, about all the stories that I, you know, used to tell and
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah. Well, you were just awesome, and I miss
Thank
you.
you.
I miss you on the weekend.
Well, I'm
Yes,
here
now we
now.
watch the
It's not the
Freakin
same.
Weekend.
Kristen emailed me. She's like, "Want to come on my podcast and drink wine?" I was like, "Yeah, Mare, you said you had me at wine."
I know. And your podcast is great, and you do it mostly, I think, with Jeff, right? The weather guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have this weekend we'll have a guest. Yeah, somebody also a former coworker. I'm very excited about. So
And these are all like kind of they're like local celebrities kind of because people feel like they know them. And
whenever you say that, I'm like,
I know,
like,
no.
it's like
And
cringing.
again, you're gonna think I'm super weird because, by the way, I don't do this with all the newscasters, by the way, but I remember seeing Jeff's cat on the. I literally follow Walter Whitepaws on Instagram.
That's hysterical. Oh my God.
So do I. So.
Do you? Okay, I was
so
you're his
funny.
friend now in real life, so it's not as weird. But I was like, Thomas, he's like, because he said Walter Whitepaws has an Instagram, and I was like, what? I need to know
Follow.
that.
That is so
and then
funny.
I was dying laughing. I was on the plane listening to your podcast about his tattoo.
Did you go on Instagram
No,
and
I didn't
see
see
his?
it. I'm scared. I'm scared.
Oh my God.
Jeff got a tattoo.
Like a legit, like Jeff has a small child right now. He's a 6-month-old baby, and
Yeah.
he
Jeff
and
the
the
weather guy.
tattoo is it's a beautiful piece of art, but
Of his cat?
Of his cat.
this cat on his shoulder.
Oh my God.
The best part about the podcast was that, and if I ever get another tattoo, it's probably going to be like a Yankees logo, but
know.
not as big.
Oh
And
my
I'm like, not
God,
your child
that's
or your wife.
hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I didn't see it, but you were like, it's a cat.
Oh, wait,
It's his
come
cat.
on.
With, yeah, you
You
gotta
have to get it up.
lightning
I can.
bolts around it because of his weather. He's the weather guy. I'm like,
Wait, are you? I'm searching it now.
I was like, and I love
I
the
feel
term-
bad.
love
Jeff's
the
not
term
here to
cat too.
defend himself.
Cat too.
You just have to call him out on your podcast
Hashtag-
and say we talked about him. Oh my God,
that's big.
that is
a
so
big tattoo.
funny.
That takes up a lot of real estate on his shoulder.
That's
not
hysterical.
Yep.
Yeah, and then people were angry. Like your viewers were angry.
So what I did was I figured instead of me saying things, I took comments. Some people were happy and
Right,
like whatever.
right.
Other people were angry and like downgraded him as a
Why?
meteorologist. I
Oh
don't know.
my
That's
gosh.
just silly.
People
yeah,
are
they
so
were like,
funny,
I'm
aren't
not
they?
gonna
Well-
follow you anymore. I'm like, because I have a tattoo of my
So
cat.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like, why does
silly.
that offend you?
That's so crazy.
Alyssa's dying. She can't.
But I
take
love
this.
that he has like the clouds and the thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, just make it weatherly. Like,
I love it. That's
So this
hysterical.
is the kind of gold you get on your podcast, the Freakin Weekend. the Freakin Weekend.
Freakin,
right?
with no G at the end of Freakin.
Yeah.
Freakin Weekend.
And anywhere you get your podcast, as well as you guys are on YouTube.
Yeah, we upload the videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
You guys do that too,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. So
Learn
that's
from the
cool.
best.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And so you have some tea to spill because you have some other big news. Like,
Yeah, as I was soul searching and trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up, it can't just be a podcaster forever.
what?
We can.
No, you guys have like real jobs,
That's true.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a hard transition, trying to figure out what would be a next step in my life and be fulfilling as well, and then also keep giving me some sort of work-life balance, because my kids are still small. I want to be there. I know you guys talk about, your kids and everything. So I said I'm taking matters into my own hands, and I'm going to start my own media consulting and on-camera coaching business. And I have a lot of different services that I'm offering, and I think I bring a very unique perspective, kind of being on the other side of those PR agencies trying to get coverage or exposure, or I was always the one picking the sound bites, and you do an interview and go, why didn't I make the interview? Well, I could tell you why you didn't make the interview, So there's a lot of different things, and I also have a mentoring program that I'm going to do for, younger adults too, which I think's pretty cool.
That's exciting.
First impressions, putting your best voice
Oh
forward,
my God,
and that
please.
kind of stuff.
Like through high school or?
Yes,
do that.
I think it, so. Obviously this is a launch, but in my mind, it's like, high school kids maybe interviewing for college, and then college kids eventually interviewing, for the workforce, and then also just knowing how to speak to grown-ups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that first impression and the way that you talk to people, what you say, how you say it, and also how you talk about yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they should feel confident also, not bragging about themselves, but
Being confident in
being
general.
confident and showing, the world what they have to offer.
It is
and
so hard.
kind of trying to get that out of, somebody who's young and might not know how to articulate that.
Yeah.
That is such a great thing to offer, because I can't tell you how many people we bring in for interviews.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
And kids are just, especially with social media, kids don't have those interpersonal communication skills as much anymore. And I see it all the time because, my kids are teenagers. And so, you said I'm from Texas. So I forced my oldest daughter into pageants when I was younger, but not like toddlers and tiaras pageants, like pageants where you learn how to speak and interview.
Yeah, right.
And it was the best thing. And I remember she was little. She was like 6 or 7 or something. And they said, they were coaching her, and they were saying, so when you do your interview with your judge, you look them in the eye, which step one.
I know
Step
it's so
one,
simple,
exactly.
but people they don't
do it.
They don't
They
do
don't
it,
do
and they
it.
don't know. And
Yeah.
it's just it's like it's little it's tweaks,
Yes.
here and there, just giving you that
Yes.
confidence.
You know what I think for us, when we're interviewing people all the time, we find sometimes people are a little bit overly confident at a certain age, right? Don't you feel that way?
Chris is laughing.
Well, what's
Don't you
funny
remember,
is I've been doing interviewing for jobs, and one of the hardest questions someone asked me, "What do you think your greatest weakness is?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, how do
It's
I
such a common-
say I have a weakness, but also spin it into
Positively.
a positive?
Yeah.
So
Being prepared for those things, and I remember one of the things, because they were all little girls, and so they were like, when the judge asks you what's your favorite color, don't just say pink. Say my favorite color is pink because my room is pink and my bike is pink, and pink makes me feel happy, and that's why I like to wear pink. Like, just a little bit of elaboration, because you'll interview someone, they'll be like, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay,
Okay.
all right.
Next question.
So I think that's great, and it's perfect timing because it's graduation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And kids are going into the workforce, and it's people are getting back out of COVID and all these things, out of quarantine. So how can people reach you?
So you can go on my new website, Jackie Lukas with a K, LUKAS.com, and you can see I have all the different services, available, and you can contact me through email through that website, and then we can go back and forth. I'll send you, packaging and pricing, and we'll work together. We can customize things too. And this is not just young adults. This is if you're an aspiring politician. Say you're a CEO of a company. Say you have a nonprofit and you're not comfortable speaking to the media. You know, like that's kind of
we see it all
why
the time.
I'm-
We see it all the time, and media training is, and I think in most large cities, it's a very common thing.
Yeah.
That people go, any like executive level business person is required to go through, but I don't see a lot of it here. So I think you're on
cutting
something
edge,
big.
Jackie. Cutting edge
Call
here on Long
me.
Island.
Yeah, and I think you're nice. So a lot of media trainers can be like, it's scary to
Yeah,
do
I
media
can
training. I've
imagine.
done it before, and
Yeah.
they're like, they make you feel bad.
Right.
But you know, it's I always say it's a sandwich effect, and it's constructive criticism. And even when I was doing interviews for my entire career, you know, whether it's unfortunately the mom who just lost a child, or it's, you know, somebody doing a fun house, you know what I mean? Like the extreme
Range.
of whatever.
Yeah.
I always wanted to make everybody feel as comfortable, you know, as possible. But I'll also sit there and I'll say, well, you said that it took too long for you to get to the point. So let's let's rewind, let's figure out how to get to the point, because normally only about 15 seconds of what you're saying in these 5 minutes is going to make it. You know what I mean? If you even make it. So let's hone in on that message and like let's really work on it. You know?
I think you're onto something, and I love your company idea, but I think you're going to get scooped up.
Yeah,
I think you're going to get
so,
scooped
too.
up. I
Yeah.
mean, Jackie Lukas, you're just like beloved on the weekends. I'm just going to say, you're just and I love that you always talked about your kids. I felt like I know your family and all of that. So we're going to talk about our kids, because I was listening to you and Jeff talk about life. You know, we'll do Long Island life. You said it's expensive, right?
Right.
But I think this is universal. Kids, and you were talking, like, he's got a new baby, so he's like looking at daycares. You have your little kids, and they're like trying to now find a new career path. And I need to know, like, you had a leak. Did you find out what happened to your
what happened?
leak?
Okay, so yeah,
I watched that.
So,
I wanna know.
so backstory. What, last week was it? I was cleaning the house, attempting to be productive for like once in my life, as I'm sitting around looking at all the mess, being like, I have nothing to do and I should clean this, but I don't want to. You know what I mean? So I'm like
who wants
in
to,
the
right?
thing, and my husband's in the shower, and there's water dripping from the ceiling from the new bathroom that we just
just
did.
renovated.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I'm scared.
So I'm like, turn the shower off, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So we call our contractor. He's like, I can come tomorrow. I'm sorry. Just use the kids' bathroom for now and we'll figure out. So I get home I actually had a meeting or / interview, whatever it was, and the contractor's there, and they're running the shower, and he doesn't want to open any of the ceilings. Yeah, he's like, let's not open anything yet because
where
let's
it's coming
see.
from,
So he,
yeah.
turns out that he didn't seal just like the you know, just the clear sealant for between so we have a bench in our shower, you know, so you could sit or put things
like the
on.
caulking.
So
you can put your legs on them when you
Yeah,
shave
when you
them.
shave,
because I
exactly.
don't have that, and I'm like doing straight Pilates.
Yeah.
Every time I shave my legs.
Doing bar.
So between like the marble of the top of the bench, and then the tile that meets, you know, the top of the bench, he forgot to seal there. So my husband was sitting on the bench when the leak was happening. So when the contractor was there, the leak wasn't going on because the water was hitting a different part of the
Right.
shower.
It's not going
so
into that
So then
unsealed spot.
I'm not going to ask why your husband.
I
is
know,
sitting on the
like,
bench.
I'm just thinking.
It's fine. We're going to let that go.
So my husband takes the shower and puts it like towards the bench, and then that's when it started dripping again, and then we realized
Right.
that it was an easy
Thank God.
fix. Thank God.
Yeah, because I can't.
Because I just redid a
No, right,
bathroom.
no.
You were talking about opening up the ceiling to find, and I'm like,
no.
oh my
I
god,
already did
like
that
I can't.
whole extravaganza, like, you know, before we had to redo the bathroom.
Yeah, that I was worried about you, because that is so scary, and just the unexpected financial.
It's always something.
It's always something, but I was going to say, like, it is always something, because then, you know, your kids are like that little, they're so not toddlers, but, you know, preteen, you know, and some, like, I guess.
Don't say preteen.
Yeah, no,
Nine?
it's like
7, 9, yes.
9, 7, 5. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Toddlers.
Can we just call them children?
Right.
The
Because
children.
every stage.
The children.
Oh, because you were talking about camps. First of all,
Yes.
camps. Okay, on Long Island, camps are a thing. They're so scary.
But they're
Well,
not.
because
I'm not one of those like.
They are so expensive.
They're so expensive because the daycares close down during the summer. They go through the
MG.
school
The first
year,
time someone
you know,
told me
whatever.
about the camps here, and there's like Jewish camps, which are everybody wants to be Jewish, to send their kids to these incredible camps.
because they're gorgeous.
no, they're the most amazing camps.
They are.
ever.
I know,
Yeah.
like one of my really good friends. She wasn't Jewish, and she went to the
you
sleepaway
can
camps.
go.
Yeah, you can
if you
go.
can afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause
Exactly.
I mean, the camps are crazy. crazy as parents.
Yeah, like I sent Brayden to the YMCA like 2 years in a row, and you can do 3-week selections, like 3 segments, and it was pretty decent. But they're outside in in the field all day. They don't go inside at all. There's no retrieve. You know what I mean?
Well, the sleepaway camps where you go for like 2 weeks. Some kids go for the whole summer.
Yes, I
and
know.
It's crazy,
a lot of people
and they're
that
like
do that.
amazing. They're in upstate, or they're in the Hamptons, and you're kayaking, and you're in the woods. It's like amazing, but it's also like it's like college. It's like $30,000.
It's I don't send my kids to those camps. They go to like the town camps
right,
or
exactly
like
the town
the sport
park
camp for the 3 or 4 hours. And luckily, I was home during the week. You know, I don't know what I'm gonna where life is taking me. But my husband works from home, so it'll be fine.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But I can't afford those camps.
This is my question.
That's why people need to call me.
Exactly.
I could barely afford the school summer, the after school program summer camp. It's so crazy.
Daycare is insane.
But that's the thing is, you go from daycare, then you go to the summer camps, and then you're 13. Like my daughter's a senior now. Let me just tell you, she's literally on her senior trip. I won't even tell you how much it costs.
Where did they go?
Universal Orlando.
Oh my God,
she's having the best time.
That's
Super
awesome.
expensive.
That's cool.
And then there's prom, and then there's graduation, where apparently they all go to the Hamptons after. I'm like, I'm sorry, who's paying for that? And also, who's signing for that room? Because it's not me.
Yeah, I was telling you, like, a lot of
your room wouldn't be available, so don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be like, she checked out yesterday.
She checked out yesterday. There's no reservation. Canceled. No, we used to go camping in the Hamptons.
Yeah, you said that. I was like, no, she's not going to.
That's like what they do.
I
mean,
but
I don't know
but there's like glamping now.
But can you?
Where it's not camping. So one of my friends rent this amazing RV that's like beautiful inside. They park it for you at the beach in like the Hamptons and stuff, and there's everything on it. It's not
I might need to find out that number because
I can find that for you.
Yeah, because I'm like, no one's gonna rent a room or a house to these teens.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
It's all their friends and their parents have like their extra houses. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have an extra house in the Hamptons.
Right. Sorry.
And then there's college. And of course, the one college she's choosing is the one that didn't give her any money, and even the ones that did, it's like $50,000 a year. I'm like, how do you do this? How do people pay for this? I have questions.
That is nuts.
You should go to trade school.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this much. By the time at least my kids are older, there will be no plumbers, there'll be no electricians because everybody's getting into tech and everything else. So maybe trade school's the way to go for my kids.
Speaking of college, you went to Dowling College and it closed down, right?
Yes.
And so it was like but it's on the water.
It's
gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
I lived on campus too, even though my house was 25 minutes away because I played basketball there. I wanted the college experience, so it was the best of both worlds.
This is my idea for like the JW Marriott on Long Island. It should be at Dowling College. I think that's the perfect spot for it.
Aren't they vandalizing?
Yeah, it's like falling apart right now.
I know.
So this is somebody. If anyone's listening, JW Marriott. Speaking of people listening, and Jackie, do you happen to know Drew Barrymore?
Of course,
she's
my best friend.
We're
Hold on.
I literally, Sharon and I always say she would be our best friend. And
she comes to Long Island. Did you? Oh my God!
I had a dream that you and I were at Drew Barrymore's house.
I love it, and I'm against it.
And she was like, no, it was like in Hollywood or something, and it was on I was like, why is your house on a major road? Drew. I was like, I feel like you need privacy. And then she was like, oh, because it's right next to this like giant music amphitheater, and it was some big rock concert. And she's like, here, you and Sharon can have like front row tickets. I was like, Drew, you are too much.
You're our bestie.
I was like, you're so great.
I love it. That's hysterical.
I woke up and I'm like, I gotta ask Jackie if she knows Drew.
Oh my God, she's
so like
funny.
all over Long Island. I'm dying.
Is she?
She's like.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Follow her on Instagram. She's always popping up on Long Island, like in Barnes and Noble and stuff like that.
Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
You know, like I know. Like there's a lot of celebrities.
They're all celebrities here.
Yeah.
Do you know them? Who's the best celebrity that you? Because you didn't go out as much as like the Elisa DiStefano does, like the Hamptons
she does
thing.
all the entertainment stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really.
You're not into that?
Into that kind of stuff? Yeah, no. But I will say it was something really cool, and he's a celebrity, but he's also a friend now.
You say celebrity.
Yes. Richie Kanata, who was the saxophone player for Billy Joel and his band and everything. He owns a recording studio, Cove City Sound Studio in Glen Cove too. But I got to bring my kids to the recording studio, and he let them record a song and stuff.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
that's
like
so
it was really fun.
awesome.
Like, so that was like a cool thing that
Yeah.
like I could do for my kids, because of whatever.
Do your
love
kids? Does like your 9-year-old who's old enough? Do they think it's cool that you're on TV, or are they embarrassed by it or anything?
Well, now they feel bad for me. So.
You'll be on TV again in like a minute.
Yeah.
You're on
But
TV
I
right
will
now.
say, when I started the podcast, they thought it was like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, then they wanted to know like how many views we had or likes and this and that or subscribers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want you to be those kind of
Yeah.
social media, kids
Yeah.
and everything. But no, I think that like when I used to be on TV, at first it was cool. And then it was like, turn mommy off. I want to watch something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big City Greens, where are you?
Yeah, exactly.
What does Braden think about you?
Oh my God,
being
he loves it. He loves it.
Oh.
He talks about it like all the time. He's like, "Did you mention?" Because I mention him all the time.
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you mention Pearl and Everly?" I'm like, "Not really."
Yeah.
Sometimes. And he's like, "But you talk about me a lot." Like I don't. And he thinks he's famous.
He's
you know?
yeah, well, yeah, he's the oldest.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I was saying like my daughters, they've been on TV since they were little. I said there was always kids in the background at the resorts and stuff. And now that I do it, it goes back and forth between them being like horrified that their teachers know who I am, and
Because they're listeners.
Because,
That's
like
so
she
funny.
said, like Tegan the other day, she's like, my gym teacher talks about you all the time. I don't know. She's like, she came up to her, she's like, did you know your mom broke her diet for green bagels? Because I did a TikTok about it.
Oh my
Bree
God,
made me do a
that's
TikTok
so
about
funny.
It. Bree did. I didn't do anything. I didn't eat the bagels. I was just at my desk. And Bree's like, hold on, do this thing. I'm like, okay, Bree. But it was, and so I was like, oh, and then she's like, and she was in the library telling her, Kristen's mom is the head of Discover Long. I'm like,
Oh.
and I think that she loves it and hates it at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it's
So-
like the career fair there, like where the
Yeah,
kids in the high
that's
school were
fine.
like, "We know your mom, your
Yeah.
CEO personally," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Do you though?"
So they love it, and then they hate it because then they're also like, you were so cringy on that video, on that story. You need to take it
They
down.
make fun of you all the
Oh,
time.
yeah. They were like-
"This is what we have to look forward to,
Oh,
Jackie,
yeah.
with our kids." Like, I think,
Especially girls.
Yeah.
They're like, are you going to wear that? Or, because that's not a good look for you. Someone's
I
like,
know.
you look like a sexy nun. Oh, this one dress I had that was like, I'm like, that sounds
they're like, "What are you
cool.
trying to go for?"
I don't know.
Well, that was what happened with my podcast. The first one, Aubrey was like, I think you should wear your hair straight next time.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
she
was
was
like,
saying that.
okay.
Yeah. She's giving you, but you know what? They're trying to tell you what the kids
In a
know
nice
today.
way,
And by
yeah.
the way, you are on YouTube, and YouTube is the way most people, like more and more people, are watching TV these days.
Well, we even noticed
So
it with
technically,
our
I am
stuff.
still on TV.
Literally.
Yeah.
You're still a celeb and a star. Anyway, okay, I had another question for you guys. As native Long Islanders, because we're talking Long Island life, we started to talk about this, and then Alyssa, I think, cut it last week. So can we talk about leaf blowers? I really want to talk about it. I like the leaf blowers.
Don't cut this, Alyssa.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your issue?
So
Tell me
like,
how you feel.
literally the first day of spring, and, everywhere. Like it's complete. Like the leaf blowers are in force, and they go on for hours.
And I wonder
Every
if
day.
it bothers you because did they not have it in Arizona? Like,
well, we
obviously
didn't
there's
have
no
leaves.
Right. That's what
You
I'm saying.
know?
So you're not used to it.
Right. I mean, a little bit, but like you have gravel, right, or rock yards.
You're in the
so
desert.
You're like, yeah. I mean, your palm trees falls. It's 45. 30 minutes
Tops.
max.
Right.
You go around, clean it up, but it's hours, and you're trying to like you're trying to spend the day in your yard.
Yeah,
and
this is what you get.
everywhere. I'm like, why?
Well, I think they should ban leaf blowers on the weekend.
Yes.
Because it's the freaking weekend.
Because it's the
right?
freaking weekend and nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
I love a good leaf blower though because I have a pool, and when the landscapers come, there are a lot of leaves
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff
And they
that
get in the
fall
pool.
even in the summer, and they get around the pool, and I like a good
Clean, fresh.
brick,
Yes.
Yes.
situation.
Yeah.
So I'm not anti leaf blowers.
Right.
I'm anti weekend leaf blowers.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I'm not anti leaf blowers. I'm anti leaf blowing for 3 hours a day, and it's mostly my neighbor who I.
Oh wait, does he do his own leaf blowing?
He's got like the Rocket Man packet out there, and I
Because
was
he's
like,
taking all his leaves and blowing them on your property.
and then you know what he does,
No,
Jackie? Do you know what he does?
Are you his neighbor? Okay.
So then get this. We're in our yard, like entertaining our friends with a bottle of wine. Like, there's a little gap in between our two fences where you can go back and forth. He comes because there's slats. He comes into our yard and like blows the leaves away from his side of the fence, like so that they don't then go into his yard after he's done. He's in our yard while I'm there outside.
Has he ever asked you if he could come in your yard?
And I don't know. I think he thinks he's probably being helpful because he's also blowing our leaves too. But I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now. Why are you in my yard blowing leaves while I'm here, sitting here?
Yeah.
Fire pit, bottle of wine. I'm like, really?
Company.
At what time is this? Well,
I mean, it was
like 12 o'clock.
No, it's like 6 or 7, but still, like
there's noise ordinances too, right?
Right,
Certain
especially
towns
where you
have
are, there should
noise
be.
ordinances.
Should be. I'm not one of those people that's like, I'm going to call the town. Somebody on the neighborhood app the other day in my neighborhood was like, my neighbors put their trampoline right on their fence line, on my fence line, and their kids are on the trampoline and they're screaming all day on the trampoline. And should I call the town? I'm like,
Oh my God.
that is
Yeah.
so mean. I was like, I don't like leaf blowers, but I'm not calling the town.
Well, that's what
I'm
Long
like, you hate
Islanders do,
children?
too.
And
No,
let alone
you hate-
children playing in the backyard.
The sounds of playing children is joyful. What is wrong with people?
Right, exactly.
It's not my backyard. What are you doing?
Right.
Get off that thing.
Right.
Don't you climb up there. Don't shut up.
Exactly.
It's like that meme where it's like, oh, you could tell it's springtime when the windows are open and you can hear the neighbors screaming
Oh
at
yeah,
their
wait.
kids.
There was a funny meme just like that
Yeah.
where it was like,
I promise you, I asked them nicely 3
I
times,
asked
and
them
then
nicely 3 times, and now I'm screaming
Now
and
I'm at that
cursing,
point.
and
Yeah.
that's being
happy spring.
So do you know when we first moved into our house, so my daughter's birthday is in July, and Thomas's daughter Genevieve's birthday is in September. They're the same age. And Genevieve wanted to wait for her birthday until we moved in. They both wanted to wait. We moved in like August. And so we had my daughter's birthday, and they have a similar group of friends, and they were like turning 10 or 11, I forget. And then we had her birthday, and we had themes. It was like top model or
So
whatever.
cute.
It was
Yeah,
really
I
cute.
remember this.
But it's Screaming Girls, and we have a trampoline or whatever. We had one party, and then 2 weeks later, we had another party.
Right.
And I'm talking like 7 girls.
Right.
Okay. Sleeping over. The police, someone called the police.
Oh, my
On us,
God.
the second party. I know it was my leaf blowing neighbor. I just know it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the cop, he was so nice. He's like, we're like, ding dong. And they're like, the girls thought it was the coolest thing. They're like,
Yeah.
the po-po.
Somebody called the
Our
popo
first
on
cop
us.
call.
We're like, oh my
Wait until they
God,
get to high
the
school.
popo's here. And I'm like, I told you to shut up. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God.
so he comes and he's like, hey, I'm sorry. Someone said to do a welfare check because there were children in distress. I'm like,
Oh, my God.
And in that moment, because we have an entryway with an upstairs, like little
Balcony
landing
type thing.
In that moment, one of the girls is at the top of the stairs in a shark costume, like dancing. And he's like, clearly, I don't know. He's like, I'm like, we just moved in. He's like, well, welcome to this neighborhood because,
Oh my
God. This is how it is.
Wait, what neighborhood is this?
It's like East Setauket on the border of Oldfield, and so it's like right there. And I was like, there's tons of space in between
Right,
the houses.
right.
I'm like, what the heck? No, they called the cops on us. I'm like, oh, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Right?
So I wouldn't feel bad doing a noise ordinance for your neighbor.
So we instead we got a Yorkie. And Duke, and we let him outside, and he like barks really annoyingly all night. We're like, cheers.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Cool.
God.
That's
I know.
so
Yeah,
funny.
what are you gonna do? Sorry.
Do you know what I just realized?
What?
We skipped right over Wine of the Week.
Oh my God.
It's really good.
It's empty.
It's empty. We loved
Let's
it.
talk about it, Sharon. Thank you.
So it's for Estate,
Yes.
Rosé Table Wine 2019. This is delicious. Do you love it, Jackie? So
I
good,
do,
right?
and like I'm more of a Pinot Grigio girl,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I could hang with this.
So our Reserve Rosé Grandioso is aged, to deliver signature yeast notes. So Wolfer
keep going.
Estate Vineyard Stables are home to lush paddocks, beautiful barns, a state-of-the-art winery, and sustainably farmed grapes.
Okay. Yeah. It's delicious. You
love
can't go wrong with. Have you ever been to the Wolfer Vineyards?
I have not.
Oh, Jackie, you got to get out there. It's gorgeous. I know you have 3 kids.
I know now they're a little bit older. I feel like I can start bringing them
Yeah.
places
Well, yeah.
with me and stuff. Yeah,
Or not.
or just leaving them with the grandparents and
grandma.
going. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just leave them in the car. Go.
They have like cornhole stuff outside.
Crack the
Like, right?
window.
Aren't they all like
Yeah,
very
so many.
family
Yeah, so if
friendly
you go
and
to-
everything?
Yeah.
If you go to longislandwinecountry.com,
Yes.
you can search different wineries and what they have to offer.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are
kid
kid-friendly.
friendly,
Yeah.
dog friendly, everything like that.
LIwines.com.
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 Yeah. They have the
Producer.
ones you can bring your kids
We're
to. You can
killing.
bring a picnic.
Panic.
Yeah, you picnic. You can take your dogs to some of them. We always recommend reservations to all of them, especially these days because, like I was saying, the travel is crazy. And so, speaking of Memorial Day weekend, it's coming up, and also, guess what happens Memorial Day weekend?
What?
The Jones Beach Air Show. Do you go to that?
So I always was working on the weekends, but here's the thing, and I'll give you a little insider tip, which they normally do a Friday like run through. Instead of going on the weekend, go on the Friday when they're practicing because you'll see the same exact show without the crowds and everything else.
Well,
so
now
especially
there's
if you're
gonna be
looking
crowds.
at the weather and the weather's not going to be good because everything is, that whole show is dependent on weather and even just like cloud coverage as well. So, you know, they make the decisions early in the morning on whether or not to, you know, go off with it or not. But
It's the best.
incredible. I went up in an airplane years ago.
Oh, my
an
God.
aerobatic airplane.
Did you throw up?
I did, yes. I actually, if you go on my regular YouTube channel, which is just Jackie Lukas, I have a couple of my old stories, and one of them is me going up in the plane, doing the loops and everything, and it was awesome. I'll never do it again.
That's so scary.
Just because now that I have kids, everything scares me.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like, you know, like we flew to Disney. I'm like, oh, this is it. Like, you know, like, it's over. You just get so nervous now when you have kids. I went skydiving before kids. You know, I did that. I did all my crazy stuff.
I didn't do that yet. I was gonna do that, and then I didn't, and now I feel the same exact way as you. Like, I'm
nervous.
convinced that I'm plummeting to my death.
Yeah.
At all times, my girls are gonna be orphans. Like, I'm like,
I think it's just
I'm
like
not
a
gonna be
mom
the wedding.
thing.
It is a
I
mom
know.
thing. I think you get like to a point where you fear every single thing.
Yeah.
You know, like
see
where I
that.
have like nightmares, so where I'm like at my own funeral.
That's,
You know, like,
I
it's
don't know.
creepy.
We should see somebody about that. We're trying to get some mental health in the
Oh,
office
oh
these
my
days
God.
because we should call Dr. Reed stat because that's not okay. No, but I always say like the second you become a mom, meaning the second you're pregnant, you start to worry. How's my pregnancy? Is it normal? Is everything? And then you have the baby, and then it's SIDS, and then it's, you know, and then now are they going to get abducted? And what's going to happen? Like,
everything.
You know, are you going to fall? And you read these horrible stories, and then I'm constantly thinking this is going to happen to me,
Right.
Yep.
Right.
or why doesn't it? You know, why would you be the lucky one? And it's just
Why
you know,
wouldn't this happen to me? Yeah.
as a mom, you just worry all the time. It never ends. They start driving. And they're going to college. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It just never ends. So, you know, Bree, never have kids. Oh my God. Speaking of Bree, how did you love that date the show?
Dating game. I loved
The dating game.
I thought it was so cute.
Jackie, what'd you think?
I thought it was amazing. I was just laughing because I watched it. I didn't listen. I watched the video, and I was watching Kristen's face when the one guy says he like stays up till 3 a.m. and sleeps till like 10, 11 o'clock, and then like she was like, who vetted this guy? Like, it was one of those
like Chris, like
I feel bad. And I'm sure he's a very nice guy. He seems like a very nice guy.
Did.
Whatever. Just not.
Did you like his mustache?
I was surprised.
Yeah, right?
Listen,
Like-
no mustache surprises me anymore because remember when Jeff had the mustache?
Right. Yeah, he
So
went through that
funny.
phase.
Oh,
yeah.
he went through a phase, all right. But I think you picked the right guy.
Yeah.
We'll see how
Also,
it goes.
they've been talking.
You know?
They've been planning. They're going
They're
on a
going
date
on
on
their
Wednesday.
date,
So
yeah.
next week, Bree will be on here with you.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk all about
Here's
it.
our teaser
I
to
can't
talk
wait.
about her date.
And I think we should start like getting
Getting-
requests for
Chris.
yeah.
So I think what you and Bree should do when I'm gone next week is, Chris, you need to come on. Listen, Chris.
I'm gonna
Chris's-
pull him on.
Chris's,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh,
Chris's
yeah.
daughter, Skylar, is a senior too. She's a senior in high school, and she Instagram messaged me, and when we were talking about Bree doing this game, she's like, I volunteer my dad. He needs to be
love
on
it.
this. He's a catch,
He
Chris.
is, and I don't think like we were making fun of him with his old lang syne
Oh my God,
date
he
all
went on a
this
blind
whole
date
time,
over the
but-
holidays, and this woman, because it was like Christmas, and they started singing the Dan Fogelberg song, Old Lang Syne. She's like, oh, it's like Christmas. And then she kept singing it. She sang the entire song at the restaurant, and people were like stopping and looking at her. So Chris is
Fully
Chris
So
is
you
serenaded
won't,
him.
you'll go on a blind date, but you won't go on a like Love Is Blind types. Oh, it wasn't a blind
It was like
date.
an online date or whatever. But yeah, but he didn't do it again. Like we were finally so excited he went on a date.
Yeah.
And that happened. But listen, you've got
Poor guy. He's like I'm over this shit. You
I
know,
know. But you know what, Chris? You got to get back out there. You gotta
I
get
think
back
so,
on that
and I
horse.
think we'll pull him on. Bree and I will get him on
get him
next
on.
week talking
Bree,
about
get
it.
him on.
And
But I think that Bree's been talking to, it's Mike, right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Bree's been talking to Mike, setting up their date for
Yeah.
this week, and he's so cute. She's like, "What day can you make it work?" And he's like, "I'll make it work. I'll make it work. I'll get someone to cover my shift.
he's like,
Whatever day
you
works
need,
for you.
whatever Brianna wants.
I'm like, we were talking about
Yeah.
somebody that prioritizes
Yeah.
you, and I think he's the real deal. I think we made
so.
a love connection.
I hope so. We'll find out next week for sure.
She's got a big smile
I
on
know.
her face
She's
right
so
now.
cute.
I know. And,
Yeah.
and they're really cute. I wonder, he's not going to be like really like short or something.
He didn't
knows?
look short.
I don't know,
Well,
but they were
they're all-
both
They're
laying down. Like, yeah, I'm like, sit up.
Get up.
Get up.
Why
It's
are the
3
lights
o'clock in
off?
the afternoon.
I was like, yeah, they're laying in the dark. I'm like,
They're
what is-
both, even when we're like, we got to flip your camera on. He's like, hold on, I got to sit up. I got to sit
I'm
up.
like,
The other one's like,
what?
I got to turn some lights on. We're like,
what is happening?
Oh my god.
What is this? Is like, I don't know. I don't envy the date, but I think we got a good one.
I think so too.
And they're going to go to Sagar in Port Jefferson, the Curry Club.
super excited.
And the owner wanted to be there.
Yeah, so she's so cute because they had originally scheduled that she's not going to be there. And
Yeah.
I was like, we're all confirmed. And she's like, no, I really want to be there to greet them and make sure that they have a fantastic experience.
Yes.
So I'm going to conference call her tomorrow.
Yeah, and
we'll-
Mark
we'll plan it
Elegance
all
is
out.
going to set up, like he said, either a limo or like a Bentley, something to
Oh,
pick
I
them
can't
up.
wait.
I
So
know.
cute.
They're going to arrive in luxury, like straight bachelor style.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Not real life.
No, that's not real life.
Yeah. When the next date you roll up in like your old Sentra.
Yeah.
And you're going to the bowling alley. But
Yeah,
I love a good
exactly.
bowl. So.
Yeah, or you're walking dogs. She could have been walking dogs. I'm just saying. Okay, well, I think we have a lot of cool stuff. And we should probably wrap it up because we could go on. I had some celebrity.
Well, you know what airs this week?
What?
The show in the Southampton, the restaurant show.
Oh, really? Oh, the 75 Main show?
Yes, yeah.
What's it called? Like Serving
the
the Hamptons?
Hamptons.
Oh, on
There's a
Discovery
whole article.
Plus?
Yeah, there's a
Oh
whole
my
article today
God.
about it, and all the people are like born and raised Long Island.
Oh,
It's
that's
so
cool.
cute.
Oh, I had a Newsday article about there's a movie being filmed on the East End right now too with Julia Roberts.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
there's always movies being
yeah,
filmed.
yeah.
So there's some movie being filmed in the Hamptons with Julia Roberts right now, and there was like a bunch. Yeah, what is it, Chris? What's it say? He's gonna tell me. Yeah, what's it say?
Leave the World Behind.
Leave the World Behind is being filmed.
Roberts, Ethan Hawke.
Ethan
Oh,
Hawke
Ethan
and Julia
Hawke
Roberts
is coming back. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So
Aw.
that was cool too. Summer is coming.
Real quick, Kanye was pulled from Coachella, so the weekend is.
I love The
performing.
Weeknd.
I love the weekend too. I was surprised.
Why was
that
he
they're-
pulled from
'cause
Coachella?
He's Kanye.
I mean, but he seems perfect
actually.
for Coachella.
Let's-
Coachella
no,
is a
'cause he's
hot
like
mess.
he's in a hot mess right now.
Yeah, didn't he get
But-
in a lot of trouble? I don't know.
Yeah, like,
Wait,
didn't
his name's not Kanye.
It's
Yeah, no,
Ye.
it's Ye.
Ye,
Yeah,
right?
Ye.
I like
Ye
so
does.
Ye,
Don't
formerly
offend him.
known as Kanye,
Yeah.
was pulled from Coachella, but the weekend is headlining.
I
now.
love The Weeknd.
Me too.
I love the freaking weekend.
The
Ooh,
freaking,
the freaking
Jackie,
weekend.
That is the perfect way to wrap it up. Everybody tune in to the Freakin Weekend with Jackie Lukas and sometimes Jeff, but always a special guest that you have on there.
Yes.
And you can learn more about like living your best Long Island life because that's pretty much what you guys talk about
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
Freakin Weekend.
Yeah.
It's all Long Island, just real stuff.
Maybe you guys want to come on my podcast.
We
yes.
would love to.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We'll bring wine.
All right.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. And so tune in next week to hear all about Bree's date with Mike. I'm super
Woo.
excited. And to get to know Chris and to see if you know somebody that's set for Chris. He's saying no. But I'll have Skylar. We should have Skylar. Call Skylar and make her come in.
Can we
That's a
do
good
that?
idea.
She'll
Yes.
make him do it. I know, Sky, if you're listening, make your dad do it. And then we're gonna take a week off for spring break. So we'll see you. They'll see you next week, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Yay.
Cheers.